Some of the things that you might want to consider as far as, which are, good metric to select or better metrics to select, things like your level of preparedness, right? Are your, what have you decided is your patch level? Ground it in a number. We want to be at 95% of all systems patched over 1 month or over 3 months or whatever is your organization. That is a good, kind of yardstick to identify, okay, how well is our patch management program working? Are we able to patch the systems in a timely manner the way we want to? And then, if you fall short, then okay, so let's go look at why did we fall short within our patch management program. Unidentified devices on your internal network or on your network in general. This is especially important and becoming more and more important in today's world, where more and more organizations have moved to BYOD, people, bringing their own mobile devices, phones, tablets, laptops, into the organization and connecting to the network or attempting to connect to the network. You should have an IDS device or an IPS device on your network that should be alerting you to devices that are attempting to connect or have connected to your protected infrastructure, whether that be your internal network, maybe you have an extranet, or, maybe it's devices, unknown devices connecting in the DMZ, right? So, but that is a good metric to be able to identify what is your basic cyber hygiene health within the organization. Are we identifying possible attack vectors with these unknown devices? Intrusion attempts. So I kind of touched on that, a little earlier with how many reported incidents do we have? So with intrusion attempts, how many attacks did our firewall identify versus how many attacks did our firewall neutralize? And that is a number that is not always going to be 100%, right? There are going to be things, believe it or not, there's going to be things that your firewall will identify the attack, but it won't be able to prevent the attack, either because maybe the firewall has a bad ACL on it, or maybe it identified it or misidentified the attack, so the attack became successful. And those are the those are the numbers that you want to be able to track. How many times was our boundary knocked on, right? How many people were knocking on the door versus how many intrusions were successful? And then you now take those successful intrusions, right, and compare them to, for instance, your reported incidents, and then you can start to see where you have some cause and correlation beginning to happen. But if I'm not collecting the metric, I'll never be able to find it, right? And these are things that happen so frequently that going back after the fact, right, going back and doing the forensics on the firewall logs and things like that, it's very time consuming versus having a tuned SIM in place that is going to be collecting all these logs, correlating them for you, and sending you alerts for things that you find important. Mean time to detect, right, kind of goes along the same lines, right? Malware has landed on a system. How long did it take us to detect the malware was there? Did the IDS immediately alert us, or was it more of an APT that sat there dormant for a month before we were able to catch it? Right? How long did it take for us to actually detect that something has gotten in, and then couple it with a metric of what is the mean time to resolve. So once we identify it, once we detect it, how long does it take us to resolve the issue? Now, these two metrics can be used in concert with each other for many things, right? You just put a twist on it for what you need the twist for. For instance, like a help desk, right, you may want to capture number of tickets opened versus number of tickets closed, mean time to close the ticket, and put those three individual metric together, and it will tell you a story, right? If I have, and let's just try an example. Let's see if I can pull one off the top of my head. Let's say I have, over the course of 3 months, I have 500 tickets open and opened. And also over the course of 3 months, I have 400 tickets closed. So I have a delta of 100 tickets that have not been closed for whatever reason, of the 500 that were opened in that 3-month span. And then I go look at what is my mean time to close a ticket. And that could tell me the story that I'm looking for. Well, it's taking my help desk personnel an average of 6 hours to close each ticket. I only have X amount of help desk personnel, hence they don't have the time to get to the volume of tickets that are coming in. Maybe I need to hire another help desk person, right? So that's how you stack those metrics together to make it make sense to you. And that's how you communicate up into the executive level. And, whenever you want to go, hire someone, the first time any of my staff say, we need more help, right? We need to hire someone. The first thing that I ask, and the first thing that I'm always asked when I tell my bosses that we need to go hire, some people is, what's not getting done. And if I can't show them what's not getting done, I don't have any quantified or qualified evidence to show them, here's what's not getting done, and the numbers are telling us that, right? So that's how you can kind of stack those, some of those metrics together to get a clearer picture of really what you're hunting for. Average days to patch, that is, a kind of I would say it's almost a must, right? You want to know how well your patch management program is working. So you should always be tracking how long does it take from the time a patch is released to the time that it takes us to test the patch, to the time it takes us to deploy the patch, to the percentage of devices on the infrastructure that require the patch, right? And at which point do I declare victory, right? Do I declare victory at the time it took for the patch to be released, to the time we recognize it was released? That probably is not going to be a good measurement for you, simply because you haven't done anything yet, right? Really. However, if you notice, right, that you're missing a lot of patches, right? Patches were released 6 months ago, and for whatever reason, they haven't even been acknowledged or deployed yet. Well, that may be a metric you now want to begin to capture to try to figure out what is it that we're missing as to why patches are being released by vendors and it's taking us 4 months to even acknowledge the patch exists. And then however amount of time it takes to test the patch and deploy the patch. So